when the taxpayers will be facing lot of assessment under the GST because the government also want to raise the revenue. So it is topic. This topic is very relevant, and we should be knowing if we receive some notice for assessment, how we should approach that notice and what type of assessment are available under GST. So friends, I am starting my slide. The first question which comes to anybody's mind is we talk about assessment. Assessment की assessment हो रहा है, assessment का notice आ गया. The first question which comes to anybody's mind is what is the meaning of term assessment? So friend, the term assessment has been defined in section 2 subsection 11 in two parts. In the first part, it says assessment means determination of tax liability under this act. And in the second part, it says it includes self-assessment, reassessment, provisional assessment, summary assessment, and best judgment assessment.
Sir?
Yeah.
Can you speak louder?
Yeah. Just wait a moment.
Okay.
So now, having understood the meaning of term assessment, now let us see what are the types of assessment. Now I am audible to everybody? Ankit, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, audible.
Yeah. Now first type, now let us discuss the type of assessment. तो हमारे कितने पार्ट के assessment, कितने type के assessment है. If I see the sections, the provision relating to assessment has been contained in section 59 to section 64. The assessment can be by taxpayer himself and by the tax authorities also. So if it is the assessment by taxpayer himself, then we call it as a self-assessment. Then there can be assessment by tax authorities also, and in that case there are various type of assessment. First is provisional assessment, second is scrutiny assessment, third is best judgment assessment, and in case of best judgment assessment, again there are two types: assessment of in case of non-filers, and then the assessment in case of unregistered persons. And apart from that, there is also one assessment which is called summary assessment. So in my slides, I'll be discussing all these kind of assessment with you in detail. Now sir, सबसे पहले हम डिस्कस करते हैं सेल्फ असेसमेंट अंडर सेक्शन 59. तो सेक्शन 59 सेल्फ असेसमेंट से डील करता है. ये कहता है कि एवरी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन शैल हिमसेल्फ assess the tax payable under this act and furnish the return for each tax period as specified under section 39. So in case of self assessment, it can be noted that it is done by the registered person himself, meaning thereby जो रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है वो खुद ही अपनी लायबिलिटी कंप्यूट करता है कि मेरे को कितना जो है टैक्स मेरा बनना चाहिए, और जो वो लायबिलिटी असेस करता है उसके बेसिस पे वो रिटर्न जमा कराता है फॉर टैक्स पीरियड, एंड this is called self-assessment. So friends, for doing the self-assessment, definitely person has to be registered. The person registered person has been defined in section 2 subsection 94, which says registered person means a person who is registered under section 25 but does not include a person having unique identity number. तो यूनिक आइडेंटिटी नंबर किन लोगों के पास होता है, जैसे कि जो एम्बेसीज हैं या यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, उनको एक यूनिक आइडेंटिटी नंबर भी अलॉट किया जाता है ओनली फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ रिफंड, बट दे कैन नॉट मेक द आउटवर्ड सप्लाई. तो एज पर द डेफिनेशन ऑफ रजिस्टर्ड पर्संस, द पर्सन हु आर होल्डिंग यूनिक आइडेंटिटी नंबर आर नॉट ट्रीटेड एज रजिस्टर्ड पर्संस. Then the term return is also defined under the CGST Act, and as per section 297 of the CGST Act, returns means any return prescribed or otherwise required to be furnished by or under this act or rules made thereunder. Now friend, these are the various type of returns कि जो मुझे जो है returns फाइल करनी होती हैं. दिस इज जस्ट इलस्ट्रेटिव लिस्ट. जैसे आपका GSTR3 है, GSTR3 तो जो है कभी आया ही नहीं और वो इट हैज बीन कीप्ड इन अबेंस. इसके प्लेस पे अभी हम GSTR3 भी फाइल कर रहे हैं. देन GSTR4, 5, 6, 7. तो दीज आर द रिटर्न्स व्हिच आर जनरली फाइल्ड अंडर सेक्शन 39 of the CGST Act. Then the tax period has also been defined. The tax period has also been defined under the CGST Act as tax period means the period for which the return is required to be furnished. Meaning thereby अगर आपको monthly return file करनी है तो month is a tax period. अगर आपको quarterly return file करनी है then in that case quarter will be treated as tax period. Now friends, the issue which is coming nowadays is that the department issue suppose you have filed a GSTR3B late, and in that GSTR3B there was some tax liability, and while at the time of filing GSTR3B आपने जो वो टैक्स था वो भी जब आपने नहीं किया. तो नाउ क्वेश्चन अराइज कि अगर डिपार्टमेंट वो इंटरेस्ट को अगर रिकवर करना चाहता है आपसे तो क्या उसको नोटिस इशू करना पड़ेगा या वो डायरेक्ट आपसे रिकवरी कर सकता है विदाउट इशूइंग द शो कॉज नोटिस. तो फ्रेंड्स इसमें अभी कुछ जजमेंट आई है. इन द वन ऑफ द जजमेंट इज LC Infra Project Private Limited, wherein the Karnataka High Court has observed that the issuance of show cause notice is sine qua non to proceed with the recovery of interest payable under section 50 and penalty liable under the provision of the act. Undisputedly, the interest payable under section 50 has been determined by the authority without the SCN, which is a breach of principle of justice. It is a set principle of law. Any order by quasi-judicial authorities in contravention of the principle of natural justice cannot be that action of respondent is set aside. In this judgment, the Karnataka High Court categorically held that कि अगर डिपार्टमेंट को कोई इंटरेस्ट ऑन सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स भी इशू रिकवर करना है तो इन दैट केस द डिपार्टमेंट कैन नॉट स्ट्रेटवे रिकवर द इंटरेस्ट विदाउट इशूइंग द शो कॉज नोटिस. तो इस केस में जो शो कॉज नोटिस है वो डिपार्टमेंट को पहले इशू करना ही. Similar view was also upheld in Mahadev Construction Company and it is a case of Jharkhand High Court. Now friends, the another type of assessment is provisional assessment under section 60. So friends, the first question which comes to anybody's mind is what is the meaning of provisional assessment? Provisional assessment means an assessment on temporary basis at the request of taxable person. Sometimes what happens कि जो taxpayer है he is unable to determine the tax rate applicable to its to a particular item, or there may be some difficulty in determining the value of supply. In that case, provisional assessment can be resorted to under section 60. Now I'll be discussing the provision of provisional assessment in detail. First is there has to be a request by taxpayer for provisional assessment. So as per section 60 subsection 1, subject to provision of section 60 subsection 2, where the taxable person is unable to determine the value of goods or services or both, or unable to determine the rate of tax applicable thereto, he may request the proper officer in writing giving reasons for payment of tax on provisional basis, and the proper officer may pass an order allowing the payment of tax on provisional basis at such rate or on such value as may be specified by him. तो सर यहाँ दो तीन चीजें नोट करने वाली है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, provisional assessment can only happen in these two cases. if he is unable to determine the value of goods or services or both, or the taxpayer is not able to determine the rate of tax applicable thereto. So the provisional assessment can be resorted to only in these two cases. If there is another case, suppose he want to know the eligibility of the ITC, then provisional assessment cannot be resorted to. The second point which can be noted here is the provisional assessment can be done in case of goods as well as services. So both things for both supplier of both goods or services can request for the provisional assessment. And the another point is, in this case, the taxpayer has to request the proper officer, giving the reason why he want to be assessed on provisional basis, and may pass an order, meaning thereby the proper has a discretion in allowing the provisional assessment, and it is not part of the proper officer to allow the proper provisional assessment. Now, friends, if I talk about the procedure, the assessment has to be made by the taxpayer in ASMT 01. Then, in that case, if the PO requires some other information and some other document, then the PO can issue the notice in ASMT 02, and then the reply to that notice has to be filed by the registered person in ASMT 03. And after considering all the facts and the submission made by the registered person, the order for provisional assessment can be passed by PO in form ASMT 04. Now, friends, let us see the cases in which provisional assessment not available. जैसा कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया कि provisional assessment can only be done in two cases. कि अगर टैक्स पेयर वैल्यू ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज नहीं निकाल पा रहा है, या देयर इज अ डाउट इन हिज माइंड अबाउट द रेट ऑफ टैक्स applicable, only in these cases it can be resorted to provisional assessment. So it can be concluded that there may be uncertainty about kind of tax. If there is a uncertainty कि मुझे IGST लगाना है, CGST लगाना है या SGST लगाना है, तो इस केस में he cannot go for provisional assessment. Similarly, if the issue is of time of supply, then also he cannot resort to the provisional assessment. Then there may be a issue with regard to supplies to be treated as supply of goods or supply of services, or whether a supply is a mixed supply or composite supply. Then again, the cannot be resorted to. Then similarly, admissibility of ITC, quantum ITC, whether a particular or not. So type of questions cannot be raised before for the provisional assessment. However, it can be noted that although the provisional assessment is not applicable in the above cases, but the SSC may go for advanced ruling subject to satisfaction of other statutory conditions. Now, friends, the time limit for provisional assessment order. जब प्रॉपर ऑफिसर के पास जो है टैक्स पेयर की रिक्वेस्ट आई फॉर प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट, इन दैट केस the proper officer shall pass an order within a period not later than 90 days from the date of receipt of such request, allowing the payment of tax on provisional basis at such rate on such value as may be specified by him. तो वो मैक्सिमम जो है 90 डेज के अंदर अंदर उसको ऑर्डर पास करना पड़ेगा. Then that order can be subject to execution of bond or surety or security, and the taxpayer may be required to furnish the undertaking in the prescribed form along with such surety and security as may be prescribed by the proper officer, and that needs to be furnished in form ASMT 05. then the issuance of final assessment order within 6 months. तो पहला क्या स्टेप अभी तक हमने देखा, एसएससी टैक्स पे ने रिक्वेस्ट करा प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट के लिए. From the receipt of such request, he passed the order for provisional assessment. तो अब प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट का उन्होंने ऑर्डर पास कर दिया, बट नाउ दिस प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर नीड्स टू बी फाइनलाइज्ड. तो लॉ में इसकी भी एक टाइम लिमिट दी गई है और उसमें इन्होंने कहा है द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर शेल विद इन ए पीरियड नॉट एक्सीडिंग 6 months फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन ऑफ प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास द फाइनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर एंड दैट ऑर्डर विल बी पास्ड इन ASMT 07 after taking account such information as may be required for finalizing the assessment. Then the question arises, suppose किसी ने रिक्वेस्ट करा प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट के लिए, तो असेसिंग ऑफिसर जो मेरा प्रॉपर ऑफिसर था उन्होंने मुझे प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट अलाउ कर दिया. Now he is required to finalize that assessment within 6 months. Whether this period of 6 months can be extended? Yes, this period of 6 months can be extended or sufficient cause being shown and for reason to be recorded in writing, and it can be extended by joint commissioner or additional commissioner for a further period not exceeding 6 months, and by commissioner for such further period not exceeding 4 years. Now the another is interest on differential tax. तो फ्रेंड देयर मे बी ए केस कि जब सपोज मुझे प्रोविजनल जो प्रोविजनल मेरा असेसमेंट था उसमें मैंने टैक्स कम पे करा था, और जब मेरा फाइनल असेसमेंट हुआ तो उसमें मेरा टैक्स पेबल ज्यादा निकला. तो देयर मे बी ए केस देयर इज ए शॉर्ट पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स. इफ देयर इज शॉर्ट पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स, इन दैट केस द टैक्स पेयर विल बी लायबल टू पे द टैक्स along with interest at the rate of 18% per annum from the due date of payment of tax till the due date of actual payment, whether such amount is paid before or after the issuance of final assessment. Now there can be another case कि जहां पर जो प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट में जो लायबिलिटी डिटरमाइन हुई थी वो फाइनल असेसमेंट में रिड्यूस हो गई. जब वो लायबिलिटी रिड्यूस हो गई तो इन दैट केस डेफिनेटली द टैक्स पेयर विल बी रिक्वायर्ड टू क्लेम द refund, because earlier based on the provisional assessment he must have made the excess payment of tax. तो इसमें लॉ कहता है the claim for refund is subject to principles of unjust enrichment except in case of zero rated supply. तो फ्रेंड व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ अनजस्ट एनरिचमेंट? मीनिंग देयर बाय कि आपने जब प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट में टैक्स दिया, सपोज आपको जो है आपने जो है 12% के हिसाब से टैक्स दिया और आपका 5% के हिसाब से टैक्स जाना था, और बाद में जो है पता लगा कि भी आपने 12 से दिया है और 5% जो है फाइनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर में आया, तो इस केस में जो 7% आपने टैक्स एक्सेस रिकवर करा था और गवर्नमेंट को पे करा है, तो उस केस में जो आपको रिफंड तभी मिलेगा जो बैलेंस 7% का है, 12 - 5, जब वो टैक्स आप उसको जो कस्टमर है उसको वापस करोगे. तो प्रिंसिपल ऑफ अनजस्ट एनरिचमेंट विल अप्लाई इन दिस केस. If the refund is not given within 60 days from the date of receipt of refund claim, then the government will be liable to pay interest at the rate of 6% under section 56. So friends, you can see that the जब जो इंटरेस्ट हमें गवर्नमेंट को देना होता है तब हमें मिनिमम 18% के हिसाब से ब्याज देना होता है, लेकिन जब हमें रिफंड लेना होता है तब गवर्नमेंट हमें खाली 6% का ही ब्याज देती है. नाउ रिलीज ऑफ सिक्योरिटी. तो फ्रेंड जब मेरा प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट था वो प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट मेरा फाइनल हो गया और मैंने उसके हिसाब से जो भी टैक्सेस पे होने थे मैंने वो टैक्सेस पे कर दिए. देन द एप्लीकेंट मे फाइल एन एप्लीकेशन फॉर रिलीज ऑफ सिक्योरिटी फर्निश्ड आफ्टर द इशू ऑफ फाइनल ऑर्डर. ऑर्डर फॉर रिलीज ऑफ सिक्योरिटी, the proper officer shall release a security furnished after ensuring that the applicant has paid the amount and issue an order in GST ASMT 09 within a period of 7 working days from the date of receipt of application in form GST ASMT 08. Now, friends, if you see in various provision in the under the GST law, the term proper officer has been used. The proper officer. तो what is the meaning of term proper officer? तो अभी जो है गवर्नमेंट ने सीबीआईसी ने कुछ सर्कुलर इशू करे थे जिसमें उन्होंने प्रॉपर ऑफिसर का मतलब समझाया था फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ डिफरेंट सेक्शन ऑफ द जीएसटी लॉ. तो जो सर्कुलर था, सर्कुलर नंबर 3/3/2017 डेटेड 5 जुलाई 2017, उसमें उन्होंने कहा था डिप्टी एंड असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर सेंट्रल टैक्स has been designated as proper officer for the purpose of ordering and finalizing the provisional assessment, meaning thereby जो डिप्टी और असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर सेंट्रल टैक्स है वो प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर कर सकता है और प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट को फाइनलाइज भी कर सकता है. The government will prescribe the proper officer for the purpose of SGST in the respective state. So this is applicable to the central taxes basically. So in case of SGST, the proper officer will be defined separately. Now, friends, let us come to another section of my presentation, which is scrutiny assessment. तो स्क्रूटनी असेसमेंट जो है वो सेक्शन 61 में डील्ड है एंड एज पर सेक्शन 61 सबसेक्शन 1 द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर में स्क्रूटनाइज द रिटर्न. दिस सेक्शन यूजेस द वर्ड मे. तो मे implies a discretion, meaning thereby कि जो scrutiny of returns है that will not be concerned of the cases. So it is a discretion of the officer to conduct a scrutiny based on the relevant material available with him. Sorry. The proper officer may scrutinize the return and related particulars furnished by the registered person to verify the correctness of the return and inform him of the discrepancy noticed, if any, in such manner as may be prescribed and seek his explanation thereto. तो फ्रेंड्स अगर मैं इस सेक्शन में जाऊं तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल एज वी डिस्कस प्रॉपर ऑफिसर में तो इट हैज द डिस्क्रिशन. सेकंड, scrutinize the return and related particular furnished by registered person, meaning thereby there has to be a registered person and that registered person should have filed his return. If there is a registered person and that person has not filed a return, in that case provision of section 61 cannot be invoked. So these two conditions should have been satisfied for the purpose of invocation of section 61. There has to be a registered person and he should have filed a return, and in that case, in order to verify the correctness of that return, the proper officer may resort to section 61 by way of informing him of the discrepancy and seeking his explanation. So what is the meaning of to verify the correctness of the return? So friends, again the word correctness has not been defined. So in general parlance, to verify the correctness of the turnover and ITC claim and other particular declared in the return, he can scrutinize the return. So friends, as we discussed, as I discussed in the previous slide also, the term registered person has been defined in section 2 subsection 94 as registered person means a person who is registered under section 25 but does not include a person having a unique identity number. Now friends, we have seen in the section the proper officer may scrutinize the return. Now what is the meaning of return? Whether GSTR 1 is a return, whether GSTR 2 was a return and some other maybe a return. So what are the returns? It is very important and needs to be analyzed. If I see the definition of return which is provided under the CGST law in section 2 subsection 97, the return means any return prescribed Prescribed means prescribed by the rules rules notified under the CGST law, or otherwise required to be furnished by or under the sect or rules made thereunder. So this is a generic definition, but they have not. This definition does not contain any name or specific return. So we need to analyze what are the returns or statements which are being filed by the taxpayer, which may be considered as return. Now the first question which comes to my mind is whether GSTR 1 is a return. So friends, in my view, no, GSTR 1 is not a return. It is a statement of outward supplies which is filed under section 37 of the CGST Act. Now friends, if we broadly see what can be the returns under the CGST law, so below are the tentative brief sections which under which the returns are generally being filed up by the taxpayers. We have the section 39 furnishing of return, wherein we are filing GSTR 3B. Then we have section 40 which deals with the first return. Then we have section 44 which deals with the annual return. Then we have section 45 which deals with the final return. So friends, if you see under section 39, there are various other types of returns which are being prescribed and filed by the taxpayers. Now, the another point which can come to anybody's mind, like CMP 08, in case of a composition taxpayer, the composition taxpayer is required to file for statement of self-assessed tax in CMP 08 on quarterly basis. Whether this statement of self-assessed tax which is being filed by the composition taxpayer on quarterly basis will be termed as return, or it is just a statement and it is not a return. So friends, I have just tried to analyze this situation, and when I go to the section 39 subsection 2, it says the composition taxpayer will be liable to pay the return, will be liable to furnish the return annually as may be prescribed, and that return is a GSTR 4 which has been prescribed, and the CMP 08 which is being filed by the composition taxpayer is not specified anywhere in section 39. So friends, in my view, there can be a possible view that CMP 08 is not a return but a statement of self-assessed tax liability. So there may be different view possible in that, but I'm just giving you some food for thought in this. Then where any return furnished by registered person is selected for scrutiny, we have the rule. Further, we have the rule 99 which provide the which is a relevant rule for the scrutiny of returns, and this rule says where any return furnished by registered person is selected for scrutiny, the proper officer shall scrutinize the same in accordance with the provision of section 61 with reference to information available with him. तो अभी यही रुकते हैं. तो पहला पॉइंट था where any return furnished by a registered person is selected for scrutiny. So selected for scrutiny, how it will be selected for scrutiny? So friends, under the GST law, no procedure has been defined for the selection of a return for a scrutiny. Whether it will be a manual selection or computer-based selection, it has not been specified in the GST law. And in my view, I think the approach which will be generally followed by the department is the computer system will flag certain cases to be selected for scrutiny, like there may be some mismatch between the outward liability reported in GSTR 1 and outward liability reported in GSTR 3A. There may be some cases which based on certain parameter which has been defined in the computer system, the system may flag certain cases for scrutiny, and those cases which are being flagged by the system may be maybe carefully examined by the proper officer and selected for the scrutiny. Now the another point, in the another point it says the proper officer shall scrutinize the same in accordance with the provision section 61 with reference to the information available with him. तो जो स्क्रूटनी मेरी सेक्शन 61 में होनी है, that has to be conducted with reference to information available with him, meaning thereby. अब जैसे आप लोग काफी लोग इनकम टैक्स लॉ में भी डील करते होंगे, तो मेरा सेक्शन 143 जो है विच इज डील्स विद द स्क्रूटनी असेसमेंट, उससे मेरा क्या होता है कि पहले जो है मुझे इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर एक क्वेश्चन इशू करता है, उस क्वेश्चन में मुझे वो बहुत सारी लिस्ट ऑफ आइटम्स दे देता है कि आप मुझे ये इंफॉर्मेशन दो, ये इंफॉर्मेशन दो, फिर जो टैक्स पेयर है वो इंफॉर्मेशन फाइल करता है, बेस्ड ऑन दैट इंफॉर्मेशन ही अगेन कम आउट विद अनदर सेट ऑफ क्वेरीज. तो वो जो है बार बार हम जो रिप्लाई सबमिट करते रहते हैं ना. आफ्टर दैट, आफ्टर कंसीडरिंग ऑल दिस मटेरियल and taking into account other factor, he passes the assessment order. So friends, it is not the case in GST law at all. जो कि GST में जो मेरा सेक्शन 61 रेड विथ रूल 99 है, वो कहता है proper officer shall scrutinize the same in accordance with the provision section 61 with reference to the information available with him, meaning thereby he scrutiny with reference to the information available with him. He cannot ask for the additional information from the taxpayer. So in case of any discrepancy, he shall issue the notice to the said person in form GST ASMT 10. अब उसने उस इंफॉर्मेशन जो भी उसके पास अवेलेबल है, उसने उसको स्क्रूटनाइज करा, तो उसने जो है उसको स्क्रूटनाइज करने के बाद जो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर उसको लगा इसमें कोई डिस्क्रिपेंसी है, तो मुझे GST ASMT 10 में मुझे वो एक नोटिस इशू करेगा इन्फॉर्मिंग ऑफ सच डिस्क्रिपेंसी एंड सीक एक्सप्लेनेशन देयरटू विदिन सच टाइम नॉट एक्सीडिंग 30 days फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ नोटिस. से वो जो टैक्स पेयर से जो है वो उसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन मांगेगा डिस्क्रिपेंसी की, not exceeding 30 days from this date of service of such notice or such further period as may be permitted by him, and also where possible quantify the amount of tax, interest and any amount payable in relation to such discrepancy. अगर पॉसिबल है तो वो अमाउंट को भी उसमें नोटिस में क्वांटिफाई करेगा. तो फ्रेंड्स, जो एक बार सबके माइंड में क्वेश्चन आता है कि भाई जब स्क्रूटनी होनी है, उसने केस स्क्रूटनी में सिलेक्ट कर लिया, वो मुझे डिस्क्रिपेंसी का नोटिस देगा, बट जो नोटिस है that should be issued with reference to the information available with him. तो उसके पास कौन सी ऐसी इंफॉर्मेशन है, तो मैंने इसको एनालाइज करने की कोशिश करी. जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी कहा था कि उसने देखा मेरी आउटवर्ड लायबिलिटी में फर्क है, जो मैंने GSTR 1 में सपोज 10 करोड़ की सेल दिखाई है, लेकिन मैंने 3B में 1 करोड़ की सेल दिखाई है, तो जो मेरा 9 करोड़ का डिफरेंस है, दैट इज अपेरेंट डिफरेंस, एंड बोथ GSTR 1 भी मेरा प्रॉपर ऑफिसर के पास है और GSTR 3B भी मेरा प्रॉपर ऑफिसर के पास है. तो उन दोनों को रिकंसाइल करके वो फाइंड आउट कर सकता है कि मेरे दोनों में जो मैंने इंफॉर्मेशन दी है आउटवर्ड लायबिलिटी वो मैच नहीं हो रही है, तो इस केस में वो मुझे नोटिस दे सकता है. या अनदर केस कैन बी डिफरेंस इन इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. मैंने कुछ इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट दिखाया है GSTR 3B में, जबकि मेरा जो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट है वो GSTR 2A में बहुत कम आ रहा है. तो इस केस में अगेन देयर इज ए मिसमैच in the figures of ITC which has been reported in GSTR 3B vis-a-vis GSTR 2A. So in this case also, since all these informations are already available with the proper officer, he may initiate the scrutiny under section 61. Now, as we discussed, the proper officer can seek information from the registered person. So, जो registered person है, the registered person will provide the explanation in form GST ASMT then PO to inform registered in GST SMT 12 for उसको देगा और information then the proceeding shall be dropped and the registered person shall be informed and no further action shall be taken. Meaning thereby उसने आपको नोटिस दिया, आपने उसका रिप्लाई दे दिया और जो आपने रिप्लाई में एक्सप्लेनेशन दी वो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर को सेटिस्फैक्ट्री लगी, उस केस में जो भी उन्होंने प्रोसीडिंग आपके अगेंस्ट चलाई थी दोज प्रोसीडिंग शैल बी ड्रॉप्ड. Now there can be another case also कि जो explanation टैक्स पेयर ने या रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन ने दी है वो सेटिस्फैक्ट्री नहीं है, तो क्या होगा? So if the registered person does not furnish a satisfactory explanation within 30 days of being informed or does not take any corrective action in his return for the month in which discrepancy is accepted, in that case the proper officer may proceed to initiate the proceeding including departmental audit, special audit, inspection, search and seizure and adjudication proceeding under section 73 or 74. तो फ्रेंड्स एक बात यहाँ पर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नोट करने वाली है, अगर प्रॉपर ऑफिसर स्क्रूटनी कर रहा है अंडर सेक्शन 61 में, in this section he cannot pass the order, he cannot determine any liability under section 61. जैसा हमारा सेक्शन इनकम टैक्स में होता है 143(2) का जो है ऑर्डर वो पास करता है, उसमें पूरी वो लायबिलिटी निकाल देता है, लेकिन सेक्शन 61 के स्क्रूटनी असेसमेंट में ही कैन नॉट डिटरमाइन द, अगर इसको लगता है कि एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है या कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुई, तो ही ओनली इनिशिएट अदर सेक्शन of the CS and can be in the form of departmental audit, special audit, inspection, search and seizure and adjudication proceedings. Now friends, just to discuss about the time limit for correction of return, अगर हम section 39 subsection 9 की बात करें, वो कहता है if any registered person after furnishing a return discovers any omission or incorrect particulars therein other than as a result of scrutiny, मतलब scrutiny exclude कर दिया, audit, inspection, enforcement activity by tax authorities, he shall rectify such omission or incorrect particular in such form and manner as may be prescribed, subject to payment of interest under this act. Meaning thereby अगर रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को लगता है कि उसने कोई रिटर्न में कोई गलती कर दी है, कोई ओमिशन कर दिया है, कोई गलती कर दी है अदर देन एज रिजल्ट ऑफ स्क्रूटनी, देन ही कैन करेक्ट दैट omission and incorrect particulars, provided that no such rectification shall be allowed after the due date of furnishing of return for the month of September or second quarter following the end of financial year to which such details pertain, or the actual date of furnishing or relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. So friends, the point which I want to make here that अगर मैं section 39(9) को देखूं, then correction can only be made in cases other than scrutiny. While if I go through the section 61, it says if the registered person does not make any corrective action in his return for the month in which discrepancy is accepted. So friends, here the section 61 says that taxable person is required to make the correction in the return of the month in which discrepancy is accepted. But as per section 39, if some omission or incorrect particulars is due to result of scrutiny, in that case that correction cannot be made. So I think there is some apparent conflict between these two provisions, and maybe in order to avoid this conflict, if you are not able to make any correction uh, in the return in the for the month in which discrepancy is accepted, you can do the correction by way of DRC 03. Further, there may be a case like we have seen under section 39(9), there is a time limit within which the correction has to be made. Maybe the 30th, maybe the September return after the end of the financial year or due date of filing the annual return. But if you see section 61, the notice for scrutiny for note of the time limit for notice of scrutiny has not been prescribed under the law. So in my view, notice for scrutiny of returns can become within the time which has been specified under section 73 or 74. In case of normal cases, it is 2 year 9 months, and in case of fraud cases, it is 4 year 6 months. So in that case, suppose if I receive the notice for scrutiny of return after the date for which the correction within which the correction can be made, so in that case also it is not possible for me to carry out. So in that case also I have to go through the route of DRC information. Under section 61 also the term proper officer has been used, and again this term proper officer has been defined, and for the section 61 the proper officer will be superintendent of central tax. Now friend, let us come to the assessment of non-filer of returns. Non-filer means कि मैं जीएसटी में रजिस्टर्ड हूं लेकिन मैं रिटर्न फाइल नहीं कर रहा हूं. So we have section 62. It says registered taxable persons fails to furnish return under section 39 or 45. 39 में तो आपका जीएसटी 3B वगैरह आएगा, और सेक्शन 45 में आपका फाइनल रिटर्न आता है. बट फ्रेंड्स, note here they have not used the section 44 which deals with the annual return. So it only incorporates section 39 or section 45. And if the registered person fails to furnish the return under these two sections, the proper officer serve notice in GSTR 3A under section 46. तो 3A में under section 46 में वो उसको नोटिस देगा and requiring that registered person to furnish the return within 15 days from the date of receipt of notice. And if the failure continues for more than 15 days, meaning thereby that registered person is not able to file the return within the time permitting the notice, and failure continues for more than 15 days after the service of notice, in that case, the proper officer performs the best judgment assessment. Best judgment assessment means the assessment based to his judgment to assess the tax liability of the said person, taking into account all the relevant material with or gathered by him. तो इसका क्या मतलब है? Taking into account all the material available with or gathered by him. I'll be discussing in detail in the subsequent slide. Now the officer passes assessment order within 5 years from the due date of एनुअल रिटर्न. तो फ्रेंड्स, अभी क्या होता है, कई बार जैसे कि फाइनेंशियल ईयर 17-18 की ड्यू डेट फॉर फाइलिंग एनुअल रिटर्न बार बार एक्सटेंड हो जा रही थी, तो कई बार हम लोग काफी खुश होते थे कि भाई ठीक है, डेट बढ़ गई, हमें टाइम मिल गया. तो फ्रेंड्स, हमें ये भी चीज एक माइंड में रखनी पड़ेगी, जब मेरी एनुअल रिटर्न फाइलिंग की डेट बढ़ी है, तो उस केस में मेरे CGST एक्ट में काफी सारे सेक्शन ऐसे हैं जिसमें टाइम लिमिटेशन मेरा ड्यू डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग एनुअल रिटर्न से काउंट होता है. तो उस केस में उस पर्टिकुलर असेसमेंट की भी डेट कॉरस्पॉन्डिंगली बढ़ गई है. जैसे अगर इस केस में देखें तो जो उसको असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास करना है इस केस में, दैट हैज टू बी पास विद इन 5 years फ्रॉम द ड्यू डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग एनुअल रिटर्न अंडर सेक्शन 44। तो अब जो है जो मेरा ऑफिसर है उसने मेरा जो है ऑर्डर पास कर दिया बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट में। तो अब क्या होता है, अब सपोज रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन फर्निशेस अ वैलिड रिटर्न विद इन 30 days ऑफ सर्विस ऑफ ऑर्डर, मतलब कि उसने मेरे अगेंस्ट बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट कर दिया, उसका मुझे ऑर्डर दे दिया, वो ऑर्डर टैक्स पेयर को रिसीव हो गया, और वो जो टैक्स पेयर है विद इन 30 days और सर्विस ऑफ द ऑर्डर रिटर्न फाइल कर देता है। So in that case, the order deemed to be withdrawn, but interest under section 50 and late fee under section 47 will be levied. So friends, the law uses the word the order deemed to be withdrawn. So it is to be noted here, it is deemed to be withdrawn in meaning thereby the proper officer will not be required to issue the order of withdrawal. It is deemed to be withdrawn. There will not be any order of withdrawal for the withdrawal of assessment order. And in the another case, suppose the registered person does not file the return within 30 days of the service of order. In that case, the tax liability determined in the order passed by the proper officer will become final. तो फ्रेंड्स, अभी जो सीबीआईसी है उसने इसमें एक स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर भी जो है इश्यू करा था। नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड कि उन्होंने जो स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर जो है जो इश्यू करा था इन केस ऑफ नॉन फाइलर्स ऑफ रिटर्न्स वो क्या है। The CBIC has issued circular number 129/48/2019 GST dated 24 December 2019 in this regard and issued the following clarification. First is system generated message before due date, meaning thereby आपकी रिटर्न फाइलिंग जीएसटीआर 3B की अगर 20 तारीख ड्यू डेट है फॉर फाइलिंग द जीएसटीआर 3B, उसके 3 दिन पहले आपको एक मैसेज भेजा जाएगा। This message will act as a reminder for you to file the GSTR 3B on the due date. Then system generated mail or message after due date. Once the due date of furnishing the return under section 39 is over, a system generated mail and message would be sent to all the defaulters immediately after the due date to the fact that the said registered person has not furnished a return for the said tax period. And the said mail message is to be sent to the authorized signatory as well as proprietor, partner, director, कर्ता, etc. Meaning thereby कि जैसे ड्यू डेट ओवर होगी उसके बाद आपको एक सिस्टम जनरेटेड मेल और मैसेज भेजा जाएगा। Then notice in GSTR 3A after 5 days of due date, meaning thereby suppose आपको 20 तारीख को GSTR 3B फाइल करनी थी, तो जैसे ही 21 तारीख हुई, 21 तारीख को एक आपको मेल और मैसेज भेजा गया कि आपकी रिटर्न ड्यू थी 20 तारीख को और आपने वो रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करी, आपने उस मैसेज को भी इग्नोर कर दिया और आपने रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करी। तो आफ्टर 5 days मतलब कि जो है 26 डे को 26 तारीख को आपको एक नोटिस इश्यू होगा इन GSTR 3A and indeed as per that notice you will be required to furnish return within 15 days. Then आपको नोटिस आ गया और आपने रिटर्न फिर भी फाइल नहीं करी, तो क्या होगा? So in case the said return is still not filed by the defaulter within 15 days of the said notice, the proper officer may proceed to assess the tax liability of the said person under section 62 to the best of his judgment, taking into account all the relevant material which is available or which he has gathered, and would issue the order under Rule 100 of the CGST rules under in form GST ASMT 13. And the proper officer would then be required to upload the summary thereof in form GST DRC 07. मीनिंग देयरबाय पहले उन्होंने आपको नोटिस दे दिया अंडर सेक्शन 46, उसमें आपको जो है 15 दिन का उन्होंने टाइम दे दिया कि आप जो है अपनी रिटर्न फाइल करे। अगर आप 15 दिन के अंदर रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करते, in that case he can do the best judgment assessment under section 62। तो फ्रेंड्स एक चीज यहाँ पर आप नोट करिए कि उसने जो आपको नोटिस 40 सेक्शन 46 में दिया है, जिसके मुताबिक आपको 15 दिन के अंदर रिटर्न फाइल करनी है, और आप वो रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करते, इन दैट केस डिपार्टमेंट विल नॉट इश्यू यू द अनदर नोटिस फॉर फाइलिंग ऑफ द रिटर्न और फॉर मेकिंग द बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट। कोई नोटिस इश्यू नहीं होगा, straight away they can resort to the best judgment assessment based on the relevant material which is available or which he has gathered। Now assessment of tax liability, ठीक है, वो ऑर्डर तो करेगा बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट का, लेकिन अब उसमें जो लाइबिलिटी है वो कैसे असेस करेगा कि कितना टैक्स टैक्स पेयर को देना है। तो इसके लिए भी इस एसओपी में उन्होंने कुछ गाइडेंस दी है, एंड इसमें कहा गया है कि फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ असेसमेंट ऑफ टैक्स लायबिलिटी अंडर सेक्शन 62 ऑफ द सीजीएसटी एक्ट, द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर मे टेक इनटू अकाउंट डिटेल ऑफ आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज। मतलब कि सपोज उसने जो टैक्स पेयर ने जीएसटीआर 1 फाइल करी है और उसमें उन्हें डिटेल्स ऑफ आउटवर्ड सप्लाई दिखाई है, तो वो आउटवर्ड सप्लाई की डिटेल तो वहां से ले सकता है। देन डिटेल ऑफ सप्लाईज ऑटो पॉपुलेटेड इन जीएसटीआर 2A। तो सपोज उसने कुछ इनवर्ड सप्लाईज खरीदी है और उसके जीएसटीआर 2 में जो एंट्रीज आ रही हैं, तो इनवर्ड सप्लाईज ही कैन टेक फ्रॉम जीएसटीआर 2A। सपोज जो टैक्स पेयर है उससे काफी ई-वे बिल्स वगैरह भी जनरेट करे थे, तो दोज डिटेल विल बी अवेलेबल ऑन ई-वे बिल पोर्टल, तो ही कैन यूटिलाइज द ई-वे बिल डिटेल्स फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ असेसिंग द आउटवर्ड सप्लाई। Then any other information available from any other source, अगर उसके पास कोई और information किसी और source से है, then also he can use, including from inspection under section 71। अगर पहले inspection हुआ था और उस inspection के basis पे उसके पास कोई information है, तो भी वो use कर सकता है। तो friends again here to noted that रहेगा to do the best judgment is on the basis of relevant material which is available or which he has gathered, meaning has to be on the basis of material available and he can gather the material, but he cannot ask for the material from the taxpayer। तो जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन उसके पास है या वो गैदर कर सकता है, उसके बेसिस पे वो बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट करेगा। Then furnishing of valid return after assessment order। सपोज आपके पास ऑर्डर आ गया बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट का और उसके बाद आप रिटर्न फाइल करते हैं, तो उस केस में जो एसओपी है वो कहती है इन केस द डिफॉल्टर फर्निश अ वैलिड रिटर्न विद इन 30 days of the service of assessment order, then the said assessment order shall be deemed to have been withdrawn। मीनिंग देयर बाय आपने 30 दिन के अंदर अंदर उसके असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के रिटर्न फाइल कर दी, तो जो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर है दैट शुड बी डीम्ड टू बी withdrawn and that no separate order of withdrawal will be issued to the taxpayer। Then non furnishing of valid return after assessment order। तो अगेन कि आपके पास बेस्ट जजमेंट का असेसमेंट ऑर्डर आ गया, लेकिन आपने कोई भी रिटर्न आपने 30 दिन के अंदर अंदर कोई भी वैलिड रिटर्न आपने फाइल नहीं करी। What is valid return? The question arises, return तो अभी हमने समझा, but what is valid return? Valid return is also defined under the GST law, and as per the law, the valid return is a return on which full tax has been paid। So if the said return remains unfurnished within the statutory period of 30 days from the issuance of order in ASMT 13, then the proper officer may initiate proceeding under section 78 and recovery under section 79। तो डायरेक्टली जो है वो रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग को इनिशिएट कर सकता है। देन प्रोविजन अटैचमेंट in deserving cases based on the fact of the case, commissioner may resort to provision attachment to protect their revenue under section 83 of the CGST Act before issuance of form GST ASMT 13। मीनिंग thereby कि उसने जो है बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट करना है, लेकिन बिफोर पासिंग द ऑर्डर अगर कमिश्नर को लगता है कि टू प्रोटेक्ट द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द रेवेन्यू प्रोविजनल अटैचमेंट करना जरूरी है. प्रोविजनल अटैचमेंट कैन आल्सो बी one point we note here that under section 83 provisional attachment can only be made only when there is a pendency of any proceeding. So friend, that's why here they have written before issuance of order under GST ASMT 13 he has to do the provisional attachment. If he want to the provisional attachment after the issuance of order, then he cannot resort to section 83. Then another is cancellation of registration. Further, the proper officer would initiate the action under section 29 subsection 2 of the CGST Act for cancellation of registration in cases where the return has not been furnished for the period specified in section 29. Meaning thereby ये सब जो है उसके बाद जो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर है वो कैंसलेशन ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन का एक्शन इनिशिएट कर देगा अंडर सेक्शन 29 सबसेक्शन 2 में. तो अगर मैं देखूं सेक्शन 29 सबसेक्शन 2 कहता है कि अगर किसी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन ने इन केस ऑफ मंथली रिटर्न 6 कंसेक्यूटिव रिटर्न्स फाइल नहीं करी है, इन दैट केस हिज रजिस्ट्रेशन कैन बी कैंसल्ड. इन केस ऑफ कंपोजिशन टैक्स पेयर अगर उन्हें जो है 3 रिटर्न फॉर 3 सक्सेसिव क्वार्टर्स फाइल नहीं करी है, इन दैट केस रजिस्ट्रेशन कैन बी कैंसल्ड. तो अगर ये सब कंडीशन उसमें सेटिस्फाई हो रही है विच आर गिवन अंडर सेक्शन 29 सबसेक्शन 2, इन दैट केस द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर मे आल्सो रिसोर्ट टू कैंसलेशन ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन. Now friends, I have done with the non-filer of returns. Now the another type of best judgment assessment is assessment of unregistered person under section 63. So friend, taxable person liable to obtain registration but fails to, meaning अगर सपोज कोई रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है उसकी टर्नओवर कोई अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है लेकिन उसकी टर्नओवर सपोज 50 लाख की है और वो रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं लेता और ए टैक्सेबल पर्सन्स रजिस्ट्रेशन इज कैंसल्ड अंडर सेक्शन 29 सबसेक्शन 2 ऑल्दो लायबल टू पे टैक्स. मतलब उसने जो है रजिस्ट्रेशन रिटर्न जो है फाइल नहीं करी थी, 6 महीने की रिटर्न कंसेक्यूटिवली फाइल नहीं करी थी और उसका रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसल हो गया, बट ही इज लायबल टू पे टैक्स. तो इन केसेस में the proper officer can issue show cause notice containing the grounds for the best judgment assessment and offer the taxable person reasonable opportunity of being heard. Meaning thereby in cases में जो proper officer है वो एक show cause notice issue करेगा to the taxpayer. उसमें वो ground जो है properly उसमें ground mention करेगा कि आपका क्यों ना बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट कर दिया जाए और वो किस ग्राउंड पे वो बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट करना चाहता है वो ग्राउंड जो है उस नोटिस में मेंशन होंगे. और वो उस नोटिस में अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ बीइंग हर्ड भी देगा. तो नॉट पेड और वो सप्लाइज से सेटिस्फाइड टैक्स नॉट पेड. Again, the assessment order to be passed within the last date for assessment order है that has been linked with the filing of due date of filing of annual return. Now friends, let us come to the summary assessment in special cases. It is contained in section 64. Section 64 says to protect the interest of the revenue when the proper officer has evidence that a taxable person has incurred a liability to pay tax under the act and the proper officer has sufficient ground to believe that delay in passing an assessment order may adversely affect the interest of revenue. Then, so first of all, all these conditions needs to be satisfied for invoking section 64. First, it has to be to protect the interest of revenue. First thing. Secondly, the proper officer has the evidence that the taxable person has incurred a liability to pay the tax. Third, the proper officer has sufficient ground to believe that delay in passing an assessment order may adversely affect the interest of the revenue. If all these conditions satisfied, only then section 64 can be invoked. There may be a case, suppose the search is going on in the premises of certain taxpayer, and while undergoing a search of that particular taxpayer, the GST officer found some document which relate to some another taxable person. In that case may be covered here, and in order to protect the interest of revenue, the proper officer has the evidence also, and if that proper officer thinks that the delay in passing the assessment order may adversely affect the interest of revenue, in that case he may invoke the provision of summary assessment as contained in section 64. The proper officer may issue an assessment order imposing tax liability on a person based on any evidence showing a tax liability. So friend, here you can also see, in this case also, कोई उसको नोटिस इशू करने की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई उसे इंफॉर्मेशन मंगाने की जरूरत नहीं है. वो जो समरी असेसमेंट करेगा, that summary assessment will be based on the evidence available assessment order. Then if person to whom the liability pertain is not certainable, अगर जिस taxpayer को liability pertain करती है वो taxpayer वो person ascertainable नहीं है, the person in charge of the goods shall be assessed. जो भी person goods का in charge था वो assess कर दिया जाएगा. Then if order is erroneous, down in section 74. Up suppose this can be erroneous has not been defined in the law, and suppose there is some issue in the order and that order is not proper, then either the person or the proper officer may withdraw. So either the person may request or the proper officer may withdraw such order and follow the procedure as laid down in section 73 or section 74. So friends, this was the last case of the assessment which I have done. So I have completed broadly my presentation. So basically this is the summary of the forms which I have given in case, which can be used in case of section 64, like GST ASMT 16, the order assessment shall be issued in this form. Then DRC 7 summary of order shall be uploaded, and you can just go through. So friend, I am done with my presentation. If you have any questions, so we are open for with the question. Thanks a lot for the patient hearing.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Are you listening, sir? Are you audible to me? Hello.
Yeah, I am able to listen you.
Yes, sir. There has been queries.
Yeah, I am able to listen you.
Yes, sir. There has been certain queries which raised. So whether section 61 can be invoked by the officer other than jurisdiction officer?
No.
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 Okay, sir. And so there was one more query about this. Whether section 61 can.
Let me give you the reason, because
Sure,
you are
sir.
filing the return to the judicial officer, and that judicial officer is empowered to scrutinize your return.
Okay.
So generally, so in my view, the notice under section 61 for scrutiny of return has to be issued by your judicial officer only.
Okay. Okay, sir. Fine. The second query which was raised in the whether section 61 can be invoked based on the information other than of written, external source of information, we can say?
But that information should be available with him actually. Yani he cannot ask for any information and he cannot get information from third person or anybody. He can issue the notice for getting the information.
Okay, sir. But it means that notice has been issued. So
Okay, if you see,
okay. Actually, sir, your voice is breaking, sir. Actually, we can't hear you right now.
if you see in the slide, Rule 99, in this it says the proper official shall scrutinize the same in accordance with provision section 61 with reference to available with him. So if something is available with him, only on that basis he can scrutinize. He cannot ask for the further information.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I got your point. And sir, another query raised was section 60 about section 62. Section 62 can be invoked only after notice in section 46. Hello.
No, actually, both all the assessment sections are independent.
Okay.
So any section can be invoked at any time. Suppose in case of section, if you take example of section 62,
okay.
So definitely when the registered person has not filed the return in that for the scrutiny of return, he has no resort. He cannot take the resort of section 61. He has to follow the section 62 only.
Okay. And so now, one of the last query was which raised. It's about section 62 only. Whether the liability access under section 62 can be gross liability or net tax liability.
It has to be net because every registered person, if you are registered and if you made
sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, but your voice is breaking.
Supply, so definitely given etc. Yeah, I am just repeating.
Actually,
what I am saying in.
Hello.
What I am saying. Hello.
Yes, sir. I'm getting your voice. Please continue, sir.
सर मैं ये कह रहा हूँ अगर आप रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है तो आप अपनी इनवर्ट सप्लाई पे इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकते हैं सब्जेक्ट टू टाइम लिमिट प्रिस्क्राइब्ड अंडर सेक्शन 16 सबसेक्शन 4.
ओके.
तो अगर आपने रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करी तो दैट डजंट मीन यू आर नॉट एंटाइटल्ड टू क्लेम द ITC. तो if you are claiming the ITC within the time which is prescribed under section 16 subsection 4, then definitely you calculate your outward liability and reduce the ITC and you pay the net tax only.
Okay, fine, sir. That was all, sir. Should we end the webinar here, sir?
Thank you. If there are no queries, then we can end.
Yes, sir. We'll wait for 2 minutes for the participant to write the query in the chat, and then we will end.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, the one query which we received from the participants was, I'll say you audible. The assessee was issued Form 3A as the assessee is not filed the return. We fought appeal and got order for enabling return on the portal. But meanwhile, inspection department had initiated proceedings and asking to file returns. The AC has said that we cannot activate STN. Hello?
You are not properly audible. Can you repeat?
Yes, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
The assessee was issued Form 3A as the assessee not filed the return. We fought the assessee fought appeal and got order for enabling return on the portal. But meanwhile, inspection department has initiated proceedings and asking to file returns. Now the assessing officer has said he cannot activate GSTN in spite of order from appeal, as the case is pending with the investigation team. What is the recourse here?
The investigation doesn't mean that GSTN cannot be activated. I think if they get the audit and get the order and the I think their GSTN needs to be restored. So in my view, that should be restored and he should be able to file the return.
Okay. And so one more query from participant was, we'll take this last query, whether DGGI officers can do assessment audit at section 61 to section 64.
Sir, section 61 to 64 it does not pertain to audit. It pertains to assessment only. So if they want to do the audit, then they have to go under section 65 and 66, which deals 65 deal with the departmental audit and section 66 deals with the special audit. So the assessment provision which we are discussing, in these assessment provision, the audit cannot be done.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So we will end the webinar here. Thank you for joining us, the all participants. It was a very worthy discussion by C.S. Chitresh Gupta, which is going to help every professional in coming days. We admire participants for their support and thank all of you for joining. We wish GST Corner in association with GST experts always coming with a healthy discussion for professionals. Just stay safe, stay home. We shall end the webinar here, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot for patient hearing.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.